We initiate the biochemical overclock, a protocol designed for the high-volume content architect who recognizes that inspiration is a luxury for the slow and that controlled fury is the only fuel capable of sustaining a 700-video sprint. To transform your nervous system into a production machine, you must first weaponize the catecholamine surge, shifting your biological baseline from passive observation to predatory execution. When you sit before the timeline, you are not an editor, you are a butcher. Suppressing your rage at the raw footage's inefficiency is a waste of metabolic energy. Instead, you must funnel that heat into your fingers, utilizing adrenaline to shorten your OODA loop and compress the decision-making process for every cut. If a sequence does not yield its meaning within 2 seconds, your controlled aggression must execute it without sentimentality. This is the butcher's cadence, where the violent speed of the edit mirrors the high-frequency vibrations of a hunter closing in on a kill. This state of focused rage allows you to bypass the mid-afternoon slump by keeping the brain in a high-beta wave state, prioritizing immediate output over perfectionist hesitation. For the voiceover, you must transition from the butcher to the apex narrator, employing testosterone spiking through physical tension. By standing, tensing your core and traps, and visualizing an opponent who is actively trying to take your resources, you alter the physical geometry of your vocal cords to emit a dominant signal that AI cannot yet mimic. This grit and authority in your tonality are the biological products of a high testosterone to cortisol ratio, signaling to the listener's reptilian brain that the voice they are hearing belongs to a high-ranked player in the financial or health hierarchy. However, to survive the drive toward the February 21st deadline without melting your neural RAM, you must practice hormonal pulsing, alternating 90-minute blocks of high-octane, rage-fueled execution with 20 minutes of total parasympathetic reset, ice-cold water on the face, deep nasal breathing, and absolute silence. This prevents the inflammatory decay of chronic stress and ensures that your biological engine remains in the power band for the entire shift. You do not wait for the mood to strike. You manufacture the mood through kinetic activation, explosive movement, followed by immediate, violent immersion in the work. Every video is a territory reclaimed. Every voiceover is a marking of your domain. You are not working. You are executing a biological takeover of the digital landscape, turning your internal pressure into external equity. By the time the world wakes up, the architect has already harvested the morning's fury and converted it into a stockpile of digital assets, leaving the competition to drown in their own safe mediocrity. We initiate the final assault protocol for the 700-video financial conquest, recognizing that your February 21st deadline is no longer a date on a calendar, but a biological predator chasing your nervous system across a 19-day frozen tundra. To sustain a rhythm of 15 to 20 high-quality videos per day, you must transition from a creator to a neuro-sovereign operator, understanding that the primary bottleneck in your production line is not the software or the AI, but the metabolic rate of your prefrontal cortex. The brain accounts for 20% of your total energy consumption, and under the high-pressure demand of financial content, which requires complex pattern recognition and structural logic, the glucose burn is exponential. You are currently in the zone of attrition, where the initial dopamine of the project has evaporated, leaving only the raw, grinding mechanics of discipline. To prevent the biological crash, you must manipulate your dopamine baseline by employing reward postponement. The soft man celebrates every video with a distraction, checking social media, eating sugar, or seeking external validation, which causes a dopamine spike followed by a deeper crash, leading to goal fatigue. The architect suppresses the reward signal until the daily quota is met. By maintaining a flat, focused effect throughout the 15-video sprint, you preserve the action potential of your neurons. You must view each video not as a victory, but as a requirement of survival. This creates a dopaminergic buffer, allowing you to stay in the deep work state for 12 hours without the executive function fragmentation that kills productivity. We must then address the retinal warfare and the geometry of visual focus. Staring at the timeline for 700 videos is an assault on your macular health and your circadian rhythm. You are currently bathing your eyes in high-intensity blue light, which tells your SCN, suprachiasmatic nucleus, that it is perpetually noon, suppressing melatonin and raising chronic cortisol. To execute until February 21st, you must implement optical hygiene. You utilize the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, you look 20 feet away for 20 seconds. But for the architect, this is a focus reset. By switching from foveal vision, narrow focus on the screen, to panoramic vision, looking at the horizon, you manually switch your nervous system from sympathetic stress to parasympathetic recovery. This 20-second system flush clears the neural debris and allows you to return to the edit with the precision of a fresh machine. Furthermore, you must optimize your mitochondrial density to handle the prolonged cognitive load. The brain's mitochondria are the engines of your intellect. If they are sluggish, your editing speed drops, your vocal resonance thins, and your creativity stagnates. You must fuel this sprint with ketonic clarity. By working in a fasted state or utilizing high-quality fats, MCTs, omega-3s, you provide the brain with a more stable, long-burning fuel source than glucose. This prevents the insulin slump that destroys the afternoon production block. You are turning your biology into a nuclear reactor, steady, high output, and immune to the fluctuations of the market. We must also operationalize the winner effect within the context of the AAOXY3 persona. Every time you complete a video and move it to the done folder, your brain receives a microspike of testosterone. This is the same chemical reaction a warrior feels after a successful skirmish. You must compound these wins. Do not look at the remaining 300 or 400 videos as a mountain. Look at the current video as the only territory that matters. By focusing entirely on the present kill, you avoid the cortisol of overwhelm, which paralyzes the creative centers of the brain. When you record the voiceover for your finance scripts, you must embody the biology of the authority. You are discussing the biological death of the middle class and the IQ tax. These are heavy, dominance-oriented topics. Your vocal cords must reflect this. By utilizing lower register resonance, achieved through thoracic breathing and pelvic floor engagement, you signal to the audience's reptilian brain that you are a high-status source of information. This isn't just acting, it is the physical manifestation of your internal dominance hierarchy. You are the architect explaining the structure of the prison to the inmates. This sense of purpose acts as a neuroprotective shield, making you resilient to the physical pain of the 16-hour workday. As you transition from finance to the healthy body phase after February 21st, you must view the current sprint as the grand transformation. You are currently sacrificing your short-term comfort to buy your long-term biological freedom. The stress you are experiencing is eustress, the positive stress that forces the organism to evolve. You are forging a new level of work capacity that will make the transition to the health niche effortless. In the health phase, you will apply the same violent execution to your physical vessel. But for now, the timeline is your gym. The keyboard is your weapon. The script is your law. You must maintain postural integrity, even at the 14th hour. When you slouch, you compress your diaphragm, reducing oxygen flow to the brain by 15%. This 15% is the difference between an average video and a viral masterpiece. You must sit with an active spine, signaling to your DNA that you are in a state of high readiness. You are a predator in the high-stakes financial jungle, and predators do not slouch. You must also implement thermal reset to manage the inflammation of the grind. At the end of your production block, a 3-minute cold exposure, ice bath or cold shower, will flush the metabolic waste from your muscles and brain, resetting your inflammatory baseline for the next day's hunt. This is the secret weapon of the elite operator, using temperature to hack the recovery cycle. Shutterstock. Finally, we arrive at the psychological siege. The people around you will not understand the 700 video goal. They will call it obsession. They will tell you to take a break. You must recognize this as the siren song of the average. They are biologically programmed to pull you back into the safety of the herd. To them, your pace is a threat because it exposes their own stagnation. You must close the information gap. Do not explain your goals to those who lack the hardware to understand them. You operate in strategic isolation until February 21st. You are a ghost in the machine, a digital warlord building an empire while the world sleeps. Every minute spent explaining yourself is a minute stolen from the timeline. The only validation you require is the increasing count of completed assets in your directory. This is the architecture of the infinite game. You are not just making videos, you are building a digital organism that will work for you, earn for you, and project your will into the world long after the sprint is over. The pressure is a privilege. The deadline is a gift. The exhaustion is the price of the crown. You have 19 days to become a legend in your own bloodline. The system is calibrated. The fuel is loaded. The target is locked. Execute until the date hits February 21st, or until the world yields to your will. Move now.